So this middleware, we could pull this in from Redux itself. Or sorry, apply middleware. And then pass it into create a store. Okay, found out what it was. Really annoying. So this is going to happen a lot. I've done this a million times, but I still forgot. So when you create this map dispatch to props, you still have to pass it in to this connect, so that the props get connected with the reducers, that connected with the actions, that connected with the component. So what will work is this .props.dispatch. So we have dispatch, which is basically just calling a function, and you have to pass in a function that you want to call. So you can see that this .props.dispatch is calling a function inside of it. So we added Redux Thunk, and what this does, it makes it available to props. Instead of doing this .props.dispatch and then throwing in add stuff function, you could do just this .props.add function. And you can also leverage that within the actions to get more complex actions of like, okay, once you log in, get this user, do this, this, and then call another function on top of that. So that's what that's what the Redux Thunk does, and it's just a little bit of middleware to help us perform things more cleanly. We will actually add more middleware later called Logger. So it's almost like a console log. It shows you the state before an action, the state during an action, and the state after an action. So it's pretty clear of where things go wrong if you misname things. Because like we've seen a couple times, we don't get very clear error messages all the time, like this one. So we're going to change this. Instead of this .props.dispatch function, I'm going to change it back to add and change everything so it's more clear. And then connect, you do map state to props, and then the second argument is map dispatch to props. The problem with that is it's not going to, you're not going to get an error if you don't pass this in. It's just not going to work, like we had that error with. So now we have can't find variable subtract. That makes sense because that's spelled incorrectly. Surprised how clear that was. So we have access to this .props.add and this .props.subtract. And it still doesn't work because I played around and removed dispatch from the props. So maybe that helps. That's why this works, is because you're passing in dispatch, so it's inherently attached to this function. So it's basically performing the same action as an end result of this .props.dispatch calling a function versus this .props. Just the function name itself. So that's what you're passing in dispatch for. So now it works after all that, and it decrements. So now you can see if we go all the way to 128, we have a profile, we have 128. Let's remove it again. Profile 122. So now we have access to this function on every single page that we import it. Remember, you have to import it and then do map dispatch to props and pass it in connect. And now we can get rid of all of this. So Redux replaces local state, add, and subtract. And moving forward, we're basically going to have all of our state in. Okay, you can't do this. That's take that count. We're going to have all of our state within Redux itself, so it's very clear where it's at. So we have this counter. So we change this .state.count to this .props.counter, and you can see both are changing at the same time. Crazy. Okay. So there we go. We have Redux all hooked up. Just to recap, actions are basically the functions. The reducer is handling the state and returning the updated state. So you can just think of it as the global store. and then in order to get this all to work, you need to pass it through the parent component. So this store is basically just a huge object that just gets updated depending on what you're calling and what you're updating the data with, and that has access to that store through all the child components, which is all of these components that you explicitly pass it in. So remember, we don't have access to these dispatch functions of add and subtract unless we create this and map dispatch to the function and then pass it in and then connect it to the props as well. And so this section down here, along with bind action creators and connect, you're probably going to want to start importing into all of these components as well, so that it's clear moving forward. You don't make the dumb mistake that I did and forget to pass in dispatch props into connect function. So that's why I kind of copy and paste some of the same code, because it's just hard to, or it's easy to just miss a comma or a bracket or something and be completely frustrated because it's something really, really stupid. But don't be frustrated, because it happens to the best of us. As you can see, I'm not going to edit this out of the video. But moving forward in the next couple of videos, we're just going to keep adding to this Redux store, and we're going to handle logging in at first. So right now, when someone reloads this app, they come right to the home page right now. And they have access to everything. But we want to have people log in first, and we want to be able to handle if they're logged in and if they're not. And that's kind of why I went over Redux first, so that we could handle that user. And if the user is logged in, we could check Redux to see if they are. If they are, then send them to the home page. If not, then force them to log in. So that's going to be what we're going to handle in the next couple of episodes.